for inviting me. It is such a beautiful place, greeted with snow this morning. Very nice, auspicious welcome. And the topic for the next three talks, chosen by our Swamiji, is Vedanta in day-to-day life. Actually, it's a very good topic, a wonderful topic, primarily because there is a kind of a mystification about the study, what the holy texts, the primary texts, like the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads say, and then the living of it in the everyday life. In other words, I know I am Brahman, but I don't behave like it. This is the problem. Everywhere. So that is why this is a very good topic. How much time I have, Swamiji? 8:10 now. Good to know. So, in these three talks, we will see a few things. We will see the glorious vision of the rishis and understand that from a first-person basis. In fact, when the rishis channeled the Upanishads, we do not have a founder for the Hindu Dharma, the Sanatana Dharma. No founder. Rama, born in the tradition. Krishna, born in the tradition. And tradition was already there. That is why it is called Sanatana. In a way, it is good, because the rishis are seen as the seers of the mantras, not the authors. There is a big difference. Seer means you see what is there. Author means there is a sense of agency and I-ness that comes into the picture. And therefore, the message or the teachings of the Upanishads have been intactly preserved through a unique system of lineages called parampara, sampradaya, meaning it is taught to somebody who wants this knowledge, and that somebody who wants the knowledge in turn teaches it to others, becomes a teacher in the tradition, teaches it to others. Therefore, the knowledge is safe. It is not based on an individual. It is not a cult. It is neither a cult nor it is a cult. Okay? It is a systematically unfolding pedagogy that does two things. simultaneously. Two operations. One, it takes away wrong understandings of the I, and there are plenty, we will see a few of them. And then it reiterates, underscores what we already know as the truth, as the ultimate truth about ourselves. That I want to be compassionate, that I want to be happy, that I'm the happiest when I'm loving and compassionate, that my heart yearns for a oneness with every single being and thing in the universe, is the truth of the I that is already sensed. If it is already sensed, then one might argue, why do I need to be taught it? Why can't I intuit this knowledge? Why can't I stumble upon this knowledge? Like Archimedes, the ancient Greek physicist, all he did was get into a bath filled with water, and suddenly he stumbled upon the principle of buoyancy. And we know the story, he ran through the streets of ancient Athens. I have found it, I have discovered it. Why can't the same thing happen with the understanding that the Upanishads repeatedly declare, unfold, that I am the whole, that I am limitless, that I am free of all kinds of notions of bondage, that I am of the nature of Bhagavan, Ishvara, God. Why can't I stumble upon this knowledge? Why can't it occur to me? And then I can just be myself. I don't have to come join an ashram, live under discipline, strictures, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, eat only the things, be happy with the things that are given to eat, and live under a discipline known as Dharma Yoga. Why do I need all that? If I can just intuit this knowledge, I can be free right now. If I can stumble upon this knowledge, I don't have to bother with gurus, with lineages. Besides, I can read. There are so many books published by so many Anandas, so little time. I can read. And then even the Upanishads have been translated into English, French, German, first in German. So I can read and I can become enlightened. Why bother all this? The reason that is given is actually quite eye-opening. Because this knowledge is unlike any other body of knowledge. In the sense that every other body of knowledge features me, I, ahankara. In some traditions they call it small I, big I, etc. I think it will get confusing. So here, ahankara, ego. The one who thinks itself as the mover, the shaker, the agent, the one who is proud, the one who is waiting to pat itself on the back, and the one who is waiting for everybody else to pat it on the back. This is boring. Every other branch of knowledge keeps this ahankara alive, keeps it stoked, keeps it happy, keeps it, in other words, intact. Then there is no advaita, oneness. There is the ahankara that identifies with everything small, mine, 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 mine. Few things. The world is divided into two. Two things I amass, and I have a label, mine. And the rest of the things, what shall we call them? Huh?
Yours. You.
No, 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 not yet mine. Soon to be mine. Not yet mine. That is how the world is divided in my mind. And then this ahankara that is holding on to the me, the mind, is holding on to nothing really, all small things. Even if it's a kingdom, even if it is some kind of a big position in the world, it is still a small thing compared to the vision, the glorious and the grand vision of the Upanishads, which declare one to be nothing other than Bhagavan, other than Ishvara. This is why this knowledge cannot be intuited, cannot have the ahankara standing side by side along with this glorious vision. If there is something called limitlessness, it should not be other than me. It should not be outside of myself. If I say, come look, there goes limitlessness, me standing apart from this limitlessness is actually delimiting it. Then there is two, not one. That is one reason why it has to be taught. This knowledge has to be taught. Cannot stumble upon it, because in every other branch of knowledge, the ahankara rides happy with one more information piece that it has acquired and it's holding on. First, it had a pedigree. I come from a noble family. I come from riches. My parents have political influence. I am somebody because of them. Then after pedigree, then come all the degrees. And somebody told me, I'm finishing my third PhD. I have only one question. Why? Why are you putting yourself through this? So, this shows that Vedanta is different from every other thing that is to be known. Every other thing, every branch, every discipline of knowledge. There was a devotee of my Guru, Svatmavidyananda ji, who was obsessed, he was a scientist, was obsessed with bats, fruit bats, this bat, that bat. His whole life was about bats. Bhagavan has a sense of humor because his name was Bhatnagar, but in America, nobody knew how to pronounce that. How do we think to pronounce it? Bhatnagar. And so everybody thought it was a very interesting story with his name and his obsession with bats. From the beginning to the end of his life, it was bats, 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 bats. And this is the difference between the study of bats or cats or mats or hats and Vedanta. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati, says the Mundaka Upanishad. The knower of Brahman is Brahman. The knower of bat does not become a bat. The knower of botany does not suddenly one day, the professor of botany does not suddenly one day get rooted as a tree. The professor of microbiology, after 25 years of teaching, does not crawl into the class like a microbe. But the teacher of Brahman, the one who knows, is non-separate, non-Brahman. For this reason, the ahankara cannot stand apart and say, I am the knower of Brahman. Because once you know, the I is no longer the same I that used to divide the world into mind, soon to be mind. No longer the same. The ahankara, the knower, is knocked off. There is no more knower. This is illustrated in a story that is told in the Keno Upanishad. In the middle of the class, the teacher gives a sudden quiz. Who knows Brahman? Raise your hand. Ask the teacher. One young fellow raises his hand. I know Brahman. Hey Guru. Oh Guru, I know Brahman. And the teacher says, publicly chides him and says, if you think you know Brahman, if you say you know Brahman, then your knowledge is smaller than a piece of dust that we get when you vacuum the place. Then another student who did not like this student because he was always showing off, said, oh, I want to get some good points with the Guru. Maybe the answer is, I don't know Brahman. Maybe that's the correct answer. So he tried his luck. He raised his hand and said, Guru, I don't know Brahman. Guru says, this is very evident looking at your face. Sit down. Then finally it turns out that the correct answer is by a third student who says, I will not say I know Brahman very well. And I will not say I don't know Brahman. Moreover, I will say at this first statement that I have made, whoever understands knows Brahma. Then the teacher is happy. So, a series of paradoxes, a series of word plays and that are designed to keep us squirming in the seat. Not because we don't have enough cushions, but because the ahankara, the rug from where the ahankara is sitting, is being pulled slowly. Vedanta keeps one comfortably uncomfortable. So, therefore, this knowledge cannot be stumbled upon because we are talking about the nature of the one who is stumbling. It cannot be intuited because we are talking about the nature, the content of the person who is the intuitor. It cannot be read. The Upanishads must not be read, at least not before they have been taught. If they are read, then one's own infrastructure of smallness comes in the way. Imagine reading Chandogya Upanishad chapter 6 and saying, coming across, you are that. First of all, I don't know the meaning of that. Okay, Brahman. I don't even know the meaning of Brahman when I read it. You are God. Well, that seems odd. Next, this is how I gloss over. I gloss over the Mahavakyas. Mahavakya means that which shows, reveals the oneness between the individual, the jaded, faded Jiva, and Ishvara, the Lord, the Goddess. It's all one. And so, the Upanishads have to be revealed by the teacher who is able to handle them. How is the teacher able to handle them? The teacher is able to handle them because they were given to the teacher by his teacher, by her teacher, by his teacher, by her teacher, all the way to Lord Shiva, Narayana, however you want to invoke. And this is how we have a system of lineages. And when this is unfolded in this manner, the knowledge remains safe. Why can't it be like the telephone game? You know the telephone game which children play? No? Sit and whisper something, and by the time it goes through 20 people, it's something else. This is not possible. Because, as I said, it is not dependent upon the individual. The knowledge is passed on and it is still alive because we are all here today, right now, enjoying this knowledge. It is a wonder for the ones who speak about it, for the ones who learn, for the ones who talk, for the ones who listen. It's all a beautiful, wonderful wonder. In India, when you go and greet someone, and you say, I am so and so, Pardon me, I'm just a little sick. So, you go to somebody and say, in the religious protocol, go to meet a bunch of swamis, like in the Kumbh Mela, which is the biggest orange festival in the whole world. The whole orange city comes up miraculously. UNESCO sent some people to find out how does this come plumbing everything. A temporary city comes on the banks of the river, Ganga River. And people have encampments, and why do they camp there? Because it's holy to bathe in the Ganga on certain days during certain planetary configurations. It's all dependent upon Jupiter. When Jupiter is in Leo or aspected by Leo, then that is when the Kumbh Mela. Sometimes they have half Kumbh Mela when that aspect is there. So in this orange festival, you go and then you say, I am such and such Ananda. You introduce yourself. They're not interested in your name. They're not interested in how many ashrams you have. They're not interested in your following, whether in real life or on social media. They have only one question. Who is or was your guru? What is your lineage? And if supposing somebody were to say, I don't have a lineage, I got this knowledge all by myself, there will be knowing looks exchanged. And this person will be seen as an upstart. Not a word of censure is given, but that person will find themselves not invited to any Swami parties for the whole 10 days. There is no, everything is given. Our own body is given, our mind is given, our senses are given. The ability to think is given, the ability to emote is given, the ability to learn is given. Where can I take the credit when it's all given? I just have to adore the giver. First I have to ask, is there a giver? Who is the giver? Then I have to adore that giver before I can say that this giver and the essence of me, the truth of me, are non-separate from one another. This is why how to assimilate Vedanta, how to live Vedanta becomes very important. This is why there is need of instruction. This is why in the Sanatana Hindu Dharma there is not a founder. Because if there is a founder, many times it happens to the traditions where there are founders. After the founders go, they depart from the body. The followers often are left to flounder about the meanings of whatever they might have said. Here, that is not the case. 10,000-year-old tradition with lot of commentaries, connections to the ancient ways in which this knowledge has to be understood is already there. All we have to do, like the baby birds in the nest, is open the mouth, cheep, cheep, cheep. And this knowledge is just nicely digested and then put in. That is what is needed for the assimilation. Now we will take with this broad introduction, we will now enter the topic of why it is so difficult to understand this. Because the human being, unlike animals, has free will, which is totally uninhibited. The dogs, the cats, they have a few desires. The cat might think it's nice to knock off a few things from the table, just for fun. The dog might say, I have to go out and run around and catch my own tail. Few desires they may have. But the animals are in Ishvara's world, Bhagavan's world. They don't step out of it. They are more or less programmed to not violate the laws of God. But in the human being, it's almost like the goddess, Prakriti, Maya, put total self-awareness, completely uninhibited free will, and the capacity to desire, which is simultaneously a boon, a blessing, and a curse. In India, there is when I go out of the ashram to walk, there is a three-legged dog. He doesn't even have the understanding, I have only 3 legs, other dog has 4 legs, something is wrong with me. Why me? I think I need to go in for a bionic leg. No such thing. He too jumps, he too wobbles and runs around. He seems to be happy than most of the people in the world. In fact, when he is very happy, the tail wags him, and because there are only 3 legs, he frequently flops down on the ground, gets himself up, and is happy again and flops on the ground. He's not concerned. Everybody laughs with him in a way, and life goes on. He doesn't feel like something is lacking. I meet a cow, many cows, but this one particular cow has one horn like this, and how should the other horn be like this, right? To match. Or they should be like this. But this one cow has one horn like this and one like that. She too is very affectionate, very happy. Does not, in other words, have a complex centered on herself. Why has God made me like this? I think I need plastic surgery to make the horn go like this, or like that. And her owner has painted even these mismatched horns and put bells on them. The cow doesn't do that. Same thing, they have these dog shows. Dog show is for who? For the dog? No, for the owner. And they parade this dog all around. And until the last minute it's being brushed and cut and groomed, sprayed something. And it's taken around. Who receives the certificate? Dog receives the certificate? No. Owner goes goes, proudly receives the certificate. If the dog received the certificate, the dog would assimilate the certificate, become one with the certificate. This is all for the owner, for whom the dog has become an extension of himself or herself. And this way, there seems to be a terrible mix between the I, aham, and the not I. Aham, atma, I, anatma, not I. Terrible mix. I go for a walk and I see somebody walking the dog. Or I should say, the dog is walking them, because the dog is usually in the front. And I will say, nice dog. What does the person say? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I didn't say anything about the person. And say, nice t-shirt. Thank you, thank you, thank you. T-shirt should tell me thank you, right? T-shirt is Atma or Anatma? Definitely Anatma, because I can take it off and wash it, throw it away. It is subject to wear and tear. That which is not subject to wear and tear is I, in the vision of the Upanishads. Still, there is a confusion. Same thing with every single thing in my life. This confusion exists. The spouse is an extension of oneself. Children definitely are an extension of oneself. That's why the parents of teenagers are frequently seen or heard saying things like, "You are coming with me dressed like that?" The child, the teenager will say, "So what? Mom, Dad, you are wearing jeans that has more holes than fabric. Holy jeans." But this is how I am. Take me or leave me. The child will say, teenager will say, the young adult will say. In the mind of the young adult, it's a completely different thing operating. I want to individuate. I want to separate from these people. They are stifling my growth. They are putting their own visions on me. Up till now, I was helpless and I did not know, and I was dependent upon them for everything. Now I'm growing older, I want to be my own person. Two different thoughts are operating. And then, therefore, there are numerous conclusions about the I that have to be, to use a strong word, exorcised. The ghouls of wrong notions have to be exorcised from the heart before I can joyously accept my own glory and live in it. But how did these ghouls get there? How did they get there? What happened? For this we have a lovely example. Ancient example of the snake rope or rope snake. You go out at twilight and see something with 3 bends in your yard. What happens? Eek, snake. Is it a snake? Is it a snake? No, it's not a snake. Why? Because you have your mobile phone which has a flashlight. And then you shine the light on this thing which has three bells. And it is a road that somebody put on the road. Or maybe it's a hose pipe that you yourself had taken out to water the grass and you forgot to put it away. So the snake, which is dangerous, deadly, biting creature, turned out to be not the cause of fear at all. Turned out to be something inanimate, incapable of biting in any way or manner. This is exactly what Vedanta is all about. The mistake. A mistake that is like a superimposition. If I saw the rope in broad daylight, will I mistake it for the snake? So at least one sign of life. Yes? No? No. Because I see it as rope. If I saw the the rope, in pitch dark I don't see anything. Then also it is not possible to mistake the rope for the snake. The mistake happens only under certain conditions. And what is that condition? Twilight. I know something is there and it looks similar to a snake. And my own projection from the times that I have encountered snakes in photographs, videos, etc., immediately comes to mind because of the fear associated with it. And therefore we have a fearful projection that makes me want to run away, scream, get frightened. This in Sanskrit is called adhyasa. Adhi, asaha. Asaha, throwing, projection. Adhi, on top of something that is already there. So the rope is Atma, the snake that is projected are my own misperceptions of the I. I am as good as the body. I am as good as the mind. I am as good as my achievements. I am as good as my possessions. I am as good as my notions. I am as good as my intellect. Anything that I cling on to, that becomes a source of misidentification. And this misidentification is the cause of the problem. The twilight in the example represents the I that is kind of known, kind of not known. On a totally unknown I cannot have any projections because it is unknown. On an I that is completely known, I cannot have any misperceptions because it is already known. It is the in-between that is the problem. I know I am. I'll ask you a question. Are you here? You are scaring me. Tell me, are you here? Yes? Even though it took a little time for the answer to come. Still, I did not see anybody ask somebody else, am I here? Please tell me, am I here? You don't need to ask. You don't need to call somebody. Am I here? It's a spontaneous knowledge that is always present. Present means existent. Existent means Sat. Are you here? Yes. My existence is undeniable. Sat. And then, how do you know? I know I am. I don't have to ask you if I am or not. I don't lean on you for my existence. I already know I am. This is Chit. I am Chit. I know I am. And it's a knowing that never becomes I don't know. Very interesting. So fascinating. I can say, I don't know Chinese language. Don't know Mandarin. I can say. But then, when I say that, what I'm really saying, according to the Upanishads, is that I know I do not know Mandarin. I am the knower always of all that I know. I know all that I know. I know all that I do not know. Since this knowing is limitless, since this existence is limitless, it is Sat Chit Ananda. Ananda is actually Ananta. Ananta means forever. In fact, that's what we want. When people say, I want happiness, I want to be happy, that's not quite correct. Because if I ask the next question, how long you want to be happy? What will be the answer? 5 minutes? 5 hours? 5 days? 5 months? 5 years? How long you want to be happy? Forever. This is what one wants, is forever. So I'm not wanting so much the happiness, except the happiness I associate with the term or the concept of forever, which is all about now. If I ask the question, are you sad now? What will you say? Yes? No. How about now? 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 No. Even if somebody says yes, I will say that moment has passed. What about now? The now is Ananta, forever, and therefore the now is Ananda. The now is the nature of I, and the now is all I have. Satchidananda is my nature, not what I mistake it to be. We'll see more tomorrow about the nature of the mistakes and how the Upanishad removes these mistakes systematically. And we will end the talk series tomorrow night with some practical tips on how to walk this knowledge, how to walk as this knowledge, in this knowledge. We will do that tomorrow. Thank you for your attention. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadana Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha Hari Om. Thank you.
Oh.